All right, let's get this all switched over and kick it off then. How's that looking? Yep, there we go. All right.
Sounds good to me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
10
Welcome back to another
seconds
match
to
from the
go.
JDL Season 3. This time we're in the America 1 Division, and we've
5
got Union Gaming
seconds.
running up against CNB. Now, I did a bit of research on these guys. I've
Reserve
cast CNB
time.
before. I know they're great fun. So far in the league, CNB are at 3 wins and 1 loss, and Union Gaming are at 3 wins and 3 losses. So wins are important at this stage. CNB may be arguably a bit ahead, but the interesting thing is, out of the 4 matches they have played against each other on the JDL website, UG has won every single one of those 4 games. Not just, kind of won every best of 3 or anything like that, but just straight up every game. Every game has been won. So yeah, this should be a good matchup. And I'm joined, of course, by David E. Stevenson of The Wave. How you doing, man?
Dyer's ban.
I know I had him a second ago. David, are you there?
I'm glad to hear.
Radiance
Oh,
pick.
hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Just had a bit of lag there or
Dyer's
something.
pick.
Oh, so. Oh, lots of lag for David E. Okay, I don't think. Oh, actually, a fair few drop frames for me as well. I'm sure it's just like a little bump or something. It should clear up, but till we get David E back, I'll just take care of talking over these bans. So bans for Union Gaming, they banned out the Razor and the Lycan. CNB have been banning out the Doom and the Brewmaster. A lot of high tier picks, yeah. I'm quite surprised Faceless Void has made it through. A lot of teams are making big positional plays using Chronosphere at the moment. But I am just in love, and I know David is going to agree with me, with this Viper pick. Just absolutely in love with it. One of my favorite heroes. I appreciate all the arguments and why people hate him, saying he's too simple, too easy, too whatever.
Radiance pick.
I'm just in love with him. He's so much fun. You get killed so easily. Union gave him picking up what's probably a support combo with the classic Shadow Demon Marana. You go for the Imprison, then you land an easy 5-second arrow. Lots of early game kill potential, whether they go aggro or defensive. Whereas CNB have now picked up the Abaddon, and I don't want to call it too early, but I kind of like the idea of an Abaddon Viper combo in lane, in a side lane.
5 seconds.
Reason being, just Viper is so very good at getting people very, very low, and he's already pretty tanky for a glass cannon. Add into that some Aphotic Shield and just the slow that Abaddon can bring to a lane, Curse of Avernus style, and I think that could be a terrific tri lane. Now personally, I'm more of a mid Viper player, so I really want David E's input on this. David E, can you hear me? Can we test the speaking thing again? Because please.
I can hear you. How am I coming through?
You're coming through perfectly. Alright, grand. So what do you think about this Viper Abaddon?
Great. I would say that the laning combo is a dual lane is not terrible, but you can often do a lot better. The one advantage I could see is that if CNB chooses to go for a jungler, those are both heroes which are very happy to be self-sufficient as a dual lane and could still easily dominate their lane, even if they was not getting a ton of kills. And both those heroes are also heroes that can be played in side lanes, but very much need levels a lot more than some of the competitive picks. So if they went for a jungler, I could see both those heroes being able to get the type of experience boost that they would need compared to running a more traditional tri-lane.
See, I'm just wondering, I don't think it's a Viper mid. If it's a Viper mid, they've just opened themselves up to a silencer pickup to go against it, and there's no indication of that.
Reserve time.
I mean, I was wondering more about a tri-lane with it. Put in another support, maybe someone with some disable, a Lion, a Shadow Shaman would be great if it makes it through this round of bans. Be surprised if it would, though.
To me, the real interesting thing here is the Shadow Demon from Union Gaming, because these guys love Shadow Demon. They run it with a lot of different combos, with Slardar, with Wraith King. They really like support Shadow Demon, and they use it better than almost any other team using that particular hero, because they really understand how powerful his ganking potential is in the early game and really throughout the mid game. So I'm really interested to see if CNB does want to go aggro with that Shadow Demon Marana combo, which you and I know is so potent, has such serious killing potential. That would make me nervous as CNB, because I know they know how to use that Shadow Demon pick.
They're certainly very well aware of it. I mean, I'm thinking the Abaddon maybe is a perfect kind of counter to that. I can't help feeling that they're not I can't help feeling they've got
seconds.
something up their sleeve. Like, I haven't been watching a huge amount of
Sure.
CNB games recently, but I don't know if they run this Viper ban
Reserve time.
in something that should be hugely obvious. Maybe someone in Steam chat can tell me, but I think they've got something up their sleeve with this, and I think the combinations will be huge.
Abaddon, I would say, is more popular in the South American scene than it is in the North American and European scenes. So I'm not shocked to see the pick. Although, again, if they do want to decide to go with either another support that can jungle or roam a lot very early on, that's a very self-sufficient dual lane. Talk about easy lane dominations and easy levels for the Viper and Abaddon, which they both really need to get started.
And I mean, I do like the Shadow Demon and Mirana combo. You can't really argue with it. You know, if you can land that 5-second arrow, that's perfect. But it does strike me a little bit sometimes as a bit of a one-trick pony. You know, if it goes wrong and they find themselves a bit out of position,
Sure.
and say they miss the arrow or it hits a creep because of some bad bit of luck, Viper and Abaddon are going to be able to take advantage of those kind of, you know, by default, if Mirana and Shadow Demon aren't getting that combo off, I think Viper and Abaddon would win the lane if they end up bumping against each other.
Yeah, those are definitely supports that have a lot of killing potential, but are not really lane dominators. Neither of those are supports that are happy to be up at the wave, trading harass, and keeping the enemy lane. That's definitely a... Oh, and they go straight for the Natty Prof as the third pick. That's always interesting to see this early on. Don't see it as much as we used to.
Yeah, I mean, I see it quite a lot because I play with you, and you are just Natty Prof all the way these days. But yeah, I quite like it.
My blood can't help it.
It also opens them up to quite a few options.
Yeah.
You know, they can pick a really hard farming carry and aim to go very, very late game, and then they can run a really good 4 protect 1 using the gank of Shadow Demon Mirana plus a Nature's Prophet, just annoyingly split pushing. Or they could go for an early game carry and actually, you know, not just do a kind of 4 protect 1 run distraction around the map, but actually just go for kills and towers and an early victory.
Right. I think they're going to have to gank and push early because, with the exception of maybe Moonlight Shadow, their team fight right now, again, we've only seen three picks, but their first 3 picks does not give them a strong team fight, which, you know, is certainly a perfectly valid way to play Dota. But they're going to need to get kills and push from those kills because they are not going to win the early 5-on-5 engagements, at least going the direction that they're going now.
I mean, I think it will come down to some really clutch uses of the Mirana invids. You know, that is useful in the... I agree with you, it's not useful in team fight. It's useful to set up for the team fight, or you know, that kind of thing. And there we go, CNB picking up the Storm of Spirit, so
very good pick. Very good
more
pick.
confident now. Great counter to the Nature's Prophet with that quick zip in and gank before he's got a chance to blink out and TP.
And can get him in the trees even once he has.
Yeah, very true. And a side lane Viper as well. So I'm more and more sure that there's some trick up the sleeve. One of the things I'm not understanding too well is the Batrider ban coming out from Union Gaming. Just because I think if CNB had picked Batrider, as the offlane or something, I don't think that would have been too tough for a Mirana Shadow Demon plus a carry to deal with. Thoughts?
No, I don't strongly disagree. I think that Union A was partially to protect the Nature's Prophet pick, which I'm guessing they had already planned out. Because, you know, again, another strong ganker, Firefly very good to help dealing with treants. I think it may also be that they may be expecting the aggro try would see a Viper Abaddon first too. And even though I think you're certainly right that that try could be pretty easily dealt with a Batrider. A Batrider in the solo safe lane who can dominate in off lane and jungle when it's convenient could still be a real threat. So they may be expecting more of an aggro tri lane. And again, the Rubik does not dispel that idea, though he's not the strongest aggro tri lane stunner.
Well, I think he works quite well with the Viper. He's got a bit of a stun, you know, or lockdown or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And actually, Ether Shock, is it Ether Shock? Fade Bolt, sorry.
Fade Bolt, yes.
Has decent damage, fairly easy to make sure you're landing it on heroes.
And the damage reduction is nice 3-on-3.
Radiant team ban.
Interesting.
So no, I think they could do, this could be an aggro. You know my predilection towards Viper aggro tries, so perhaps my view is somewhat biased.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I'm just reading
too
much of you in this.
Yeah. This certainly, I wouldn't disbelieve it. I'm interested to see how the puck pick right after the Storm Spirit. They clearly believe that's a counter silence and the orb that they're happy to go with. So I'm really interested to see how well that confident mid counter pick works out for them.
Yeah, mid's going to be an interesting one, fought to the teeth, I think. Going for the Slardar
I would say
ban.
that. Okay. Oh yeah, UG loves to run the Slardar, especially with the Shadow Demon. This would be classic UG gaming to pick up the Slardar with that and go for that heavy stun kill combo with Shadow Demon Mirana. I've seen them do that many times in the past. They are serious Slardar pickers, Wraith King pickers. That's big tanky, get early stuns and kill everybody carries. That is their thing.
I mean, I think Wraith King, they could do worse than that in this game.
I would not think that's a terrible pick. Storm Spirit, is going to get Orchid, but it doesn't sound like they have any natural diffusal blade builders. I'm not sure what they're going for. It would give them some at least teamfight-esque up. There it is.
There it is. I can see your point, and maybe that's why it took them so long to pick it. I mean, they're down to 6 seconds on their reserve time, which is nothing. But yeah, I think that gives them a solid lineup.
Yeah, this is classic UG Dota right here.
But
as you point out, CNB has done pretty well, so maybe they're good against classic UG Dota.
And they go for the mana burn on the next assassin.
Mana burn.
Excellent choice.
Will this be an aggro? That's the question I'm thinking.
Wow, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, you can't really see Nick. I mean, okay, Nick's solo safe. I suppose it would work. It's not someone who's really taking advantage of the solo safe situation, to my mind. I mean,
getting an early blink is never bad on Nyx. Building Poor Man's Shield is quite strong against treants, lots of small instances of damage. I'm not sure if the guaranteed Poor Man's Shield actually is guaranteed against a treant, whether they count as a creep for that or not. That's interesting. I don't know the answer to that.
I think they'd probably.
But I could see it. I could see that working. I would say it's more likely not aggro. That would be my guess. But I will be interested to watch that. And the customary first minute UG pause.
Of course.
It's in their blood. These guys always have, which is I'm sure is not their fault, always have fun internet issues for a certain value of fun.
Just during the pause, let's do a quick fashion show. Nature's Prophet looking pretty buff, got to be admitted. Who's likely to be cool? Abaddon. Abaddon could be pretty cool. Oh no, not much on the Abaddon, just a pair of pauldrons.
Abaddon has or Abaddon if you will, has an underrated model. I think he's one of the better models, base models, in the game. Pretty boss when you actually sit there and look at him. There's a lot of detail on the model compared to some of the others. Yeah,
quite a lot of layers of shading, particle effects and stuff. I'd agree with you. I keep getting rare mounts for Abaddon with drops. I don't know why. Different ones, same ones, doesn't matter. Just half my drops are rare mounts.
I've seen several. I actually like the one I have. There's some really nice mounts for Abaddon.
The Shadow Demon's got the back I really like, the kind of arms that go around, renamed Emo King.
Yeah.
I guess it does look fairly emo when you zoom in.
Hard to dispute.
I would imagine this would be an emo.
No, I really wish I understood.
What's that?
What Shadow Demon has written as I'm not sure, but maybe are these custom descriptions on his items?
I think they're just custom names, right?
Are they? Like not the Emo King, but the other items.
Sigil of the Summoned Lord, Plate of the Summoned Lord. Oh, down at the bottom.
They have standard names, yeah. I wonder if those are custom descriptions or some sort of. Does not look like
some piece of the Shadow Demon
Peruvian
mythology.
Spanish. I'm familiar. Yeah, maybe. Shows my ignorance.
Yeah, you don't know enough. Don't know enough about languages.
Has the same mount that I do. It's a nice Mirana.
That it is. Wow, that's pretty complete as well. That's the entire Heavenly Guardian set. I never noticed that before. The shopkeeper on Dire is actually sitting in a little hole. That's a bit weird.
Secret shop or safe shop or main
Base
shop?
fountain.
Oh yeah. He's a little. He's a blacksmith. Blacksmiths sometimes operate in lower
Holes?
ground. Yeah, I've seen that.
Not sure about that.
Pit things.
And here we have the Aegis of Champions. No news to anybody, but there,
Congrats.
nevertheless.
Yet again, I guess it are going to be in order for the next year until it's somebody else.
Yep, every time.
Every time. Congrats. Good job, newbie.
Wow, this is this is
yeah?
a pause and a half, isn't it?
Oh yeah, this is again classic Union gaming. Classic. They always they're the online infrastructure in Peru is not amazing, and these guys, I'm not sure what their playing situation is. I don't know anything about it, but they often have to, when they actually connect into the game and figure out what server they're on, find that their ping is so bad they have to find a VPN or go to like an internet cafe where they can actually play at, because it's just, for some of the people it's just unplayable. So this happens to them, unfortunately, more often than I'm sure everyone would prefer. Dedication indeed.
And it's side red as well. He was the one who was having trouble loading into the game.
Yeah, he often is has more issues than the other.
Well, we live, we learn. Let's have a look. And I know this is a.
What do you think of the Nyx Assassin set on CNB, by the way?
Have a look.
Pretty. I don't even think I've seen this before.
I've seen
Sacred
the Helm
Orb
thing.
set. I have not.
I don't think I've seen the full set.
I think it looks quite nice.
Let's take a
I like the blades.
close look,
claws,
since we have nothing else to do at this stage in the game.
They really emphasize the sort of venomous nature of the hero. I like the claws.
Look like some quite nice jade, something like that. So how do you think this is going to go? I guess let's try and make some predictions on first 5 minutes.
I mean, again, my instinct when I see this lineup screams Viper aggro try, but perhaps that is somewhat more of a drafting weakness on my part than anything else. But I would say that I would expect a defensive try for UG with puck middle. Although they have been known to run puck off lanes, but I've personally never seen them run a Nature's Prophet. I would guess it's a puck middle, Nature's Prophet off lane, with a defensive try. I would expect whoever is in that off lane, 1 or 3, to absolutely need to be constantly on their toes, because UG will go for kills as soon and as frequently as possible, and they're quite good at it. I would say that a lot is going to depend on, again, if CNB aggro tries, then I expect the Nyx to go for an early poor man's shield to try to counter the Nature's Prophet, but I don't expect him to be able to shut him down too strong, so I expect both heroes to get decent farm. I would expect Nature's to go for a Midas if it is solo, otherwise I'm not as certain. I think Nature's Prophet is really going to have a tough time this game against both a Storm Spirit and a Nyx. If either of those heroes are not accounted for, he has to play very defensively. And I've seen Angel play Nature's Prophet before, but I've never really studied his Nature's Prophet play. So I'm not totally sure how aggressive of a split pusher he is, and how aggressive. I know he's a very aggressive ganker, but I'm not totally sure how aggressive a split pusher it is. So it'll be interesting to see. I would expect, in the mid game at least, for UG to group up more than your typical sort of Nature's Prophet 4 Protect 1. I would expect this Nature's Prophet to be largely farming in around the map like a normal carry, and then TPing in for ganks and pushes rather than trying to distract hard with split push most of the time and have the rest of his team 4 Protect 1. That would be my guess for how UG is going to play this out.
On the way to the
CNB,
Does he just stay with the pack and farm there?
Yeah, I expect Nature's Prophet to still be farming relatively independent from his team, perhaps, but to be eager to look for opportunities to group and push or gank, because he cannot split push hard against a Storm Spirit and Nyx Assassin. Nyx Assassin can constantly be waiting and lying in wait for him, and once he gets at least decent levels, he's not going to know. And Storm Spirit, if he's found, can zip him. Even if he tries to blink into the trees, it's too late. You can't do that against a Storm Spirit. So if I was him, I would expect to see him more in his own jungle than you see normally in Nature's Prophet in the mid game, and less in the side lanes. Then again, if he has deep enough map vision to pull it off, CNB's wave clearance is not that great. I mean, Nyx has some AoE stuns. I guess Abaddon's shield helps. Fadebolt's pretty good. But they don't have people that are just going to say, oh yeah, just push into me all you want, Nature's Prophet. This is great. I'll clear the waves faster than you can do anything with them. They need to get their ganks off, and they need to take fights, because they don't have a late game carry. I mean, Viper, I think, is underrated as a late game carry. I think Storm Spirit's very underrated as a late game carry. But against a Nature's Prophet and a... Oh, here we are. A Nature's Prophet and a Wraith King and a support Mirana. UG's going to have the late game if CNB doesn't force them out. Now, if they're starved, if Nature's Prophet can't split push, if they're not able to get kills early with the Viper and the Abaddon to keep people alive, then I think CNB can take it late. But it is on them to make something happen.
Quick message to Twitch chat to let them know that we'll be starting now. And all right, well we're off. David, do you want to introduce one of the teams?
I'd love to introduce the teams. I'll maybe start with UG.
Okay, UG it is.
All right, starting off with Binges on the Mirana. Looks like heading down towards this bottom lane. Citadel on the Puck, right now stationed in the middle. Nature's Prophet, Angel, is headed top. Excuse me. Zunder on the Wraith King is also headed bottom, along with Jericho on the Shadow Demon. So it looks like UG may be trying to dodge an aggro try, but they're going to run into 4 heroes. I'll turn it over to you.
I'll just give a quick pause before we go into the CNB introductions, just because obviously we do have the potential, a lot of maneuvering here, scouting out by Trian.
Lots of pings.
For one or other team to suddenly start losing an awful lot of blood. So CNB do have more people down on the lane, although looks like 2 of them are moving out now. So I'm pretty sure UG are going to be able to get whatever wards they want down here undisturbed, but I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of blood spill. Nope, looks like it's safe. All right, and over on the CNB squad, we have Ned taking on the Rubik. He'll be joined by Bagger on the Abaddon as the supports down in the safe lane. Viper is heading to the mid. That's being played by 4DR. Nyx Assassin probably going off lane, being played by Wesley Safadao. And Storm Spirit actually going as the safe lane carry is the Clots 22. So this is going to be an interesting game. Not the lanes I was expecting, to be honest. The aggro try is being run by UG rather than CNB. And it's a Storm Spirit in the lane. We were both hoping so much for the Viper side lane. I feel like we need to grieve.
And for anyone, I'm guessing that Wesley Safadao is King RD, the 4th standard member of CNB. I'm not sure if this is a recent name change or it's part of the Valve Dota names are your registered name, not what your actual name says at the moment thing.
And that's First Blood down on bot lane. Just a beautiful, simple disruption into Arrow. Wraith King follow up stun. Wraith King's actually been brought very, very low, but he's not going to be worried about that. And it actually looks like it might be the Mirana who's intended to carry this lane, or she might just be picking up last hits just while the Wraith King is moving back. Clarity broken on the Wraith King.
Binges is normally the farming hero in this tri lane, so it should be a farming Mirana.
I'm not as fond personally. Oh, the arrow a little bit early there, hits a creep. Not sure they actually had the timing for that though. Not sure it was going to be possible.
I think Mirana was a lot closer than she would have wanted to be to take that arrow, but I guess Shadow Demon just saw the opportunity.
And I've got to say, CNB doing a great job of stopping all these clarities, but they're going to have to do a little bit more than this if they want to get their first recorded win against UG on the joinDota website. Meanwhile,
it is the Nyx Assassin versus Nature's Prophet matchup that we were thinking about.
So you're expecting both of them to farm a fairly boring lane?
I would expect so, yeah. Nyx has his stout shield. I'm guessing will soon be picking up poor man's.
Yep. I think he just wanted the boots to be able to make sure he can outrun and make it a bit harder to land Sprout if necessary. Viper seems to be winning out on the mid lane, at least in terms of last hits, but very, very close. Just one last hit in it. Maybe a little bit early
I think
to tell.
if Puck is pretty strong against Viper, you know, again, you know a lot more about mid Viper than I do, but the ability to phase shift a lot of those orb harasses, although the Viper is coming in with the haste rune.
Just 40R knocking off a couple of quick poison attacks. Great way to get the health low, and when their health is low, you do even more damage. So it's a great amplified effect there. But
anyone looking to know more about some of the Viper mechanics should definitely check out the recent Wave Viper Guide video that was we recently released. You and Divok did a really excellent job with that. There's a great guide available, and I'm sure a lot of VODs available on multiple places and from multiple channels if you want to learn more. A really great video. People should definitely look to check that out if they get an opportunity.
That was a really fun one. Yeah, we're hoping to get a couple of more heroes done as well. Any suggestions? Please do let us know. And you can find that all the stuff on thewavegamers.com. Mid lane. It's all there in the forums, I think. Nice bit of bottle crowing coming out from side rail. Yeah, I think you're right about
Piranha's
the puck.
dominating this bottom lane.
Particularly the Nether Strike isn't as much of an issue when you're puck, and you can just phase shift 4 out of the 5 seconds that Nether Strike applies for. It's really about mana conservation. If Viper can dodge enough stuff and just stay potent long enough for puck to start having any mana issues, it becomes a very easy lane. But
it's certainly not a loss for Viper or anything, but I would say it's a decent counter. Like when a lot of heroes will just melt under that harass.
And you really are right. This bottom lane is just where the game is being won at the moment. 24-8 on the Mirana and 6-0 on the Storm Spirit. All the other lanes are weirdly even. Nature's Prophet coming out slightly further ahead on the top lane, but barely by
Arrow
anything.
misses on Storm Spirit.
Radiant's bottom tower.
But yeah, I mean that's certainly what I'd expect. You know, like I said, a boring lane up top, decent Viper countering middle, probably a relatively passive lane. But this Storm Spirit, a hero that is so deeply in need of farm and levels to get a quick start, being shut down like this. If I was on CNB, I would have all alarm bells blaring right now. I mean, it's early game, and you know, with lane isn't going well. That's not a big deal, and it normally isn't. It's not the end of the game, but if I was CNB, I would be really worried. This was not the start they wanted.
Absolutely not. No, I'm just having a quick look at the pull camp situation. Right, so I think this might be one of the big problems that CNB have. I think they've actually managed to block their own pull camp. Possibly with that OBS? I'm not sure. No, that's way too far out.
Oh, no. Shadow Demon was there at the start of the game. I do not believe that it's been permanently blocked, but I do believe they've been looking to body block it frequently on the minute marks.
If that's the way they're doing it, they're doing an amazing job of it, because that's just completely shutting down any chance that CNB defensive tri-lane has. And they've actually pretty much abandoned lane, it looks like. Storm Spirit's jungling. The supports are playing incredibly cautiously, looking for any chance to pull anywhere else to get farm other than have to face this lane. And that's not a way they can afford to play for long.
Puck takes out the Viper middle.
Excellent
so 2
job.
kills up for UG.
It's exactly the kind of lead they want to have at this stage in the game. Just absolutely perfect.
GNB is in real trouble.
I really
does not have a carry, and the one lane that needed to go well against the other two that should have been passive, the one that needed to go well, has just completely fallen apart.
Is under siege.
And I mean, again, not to this bottom tower takes some little bit of damage from the Wraith King and the Mirana. Not to certainly pretend that I at least am a better player than these professionals, which I'm sure isn't true. But
sure, of course.
I think.
How could you? How gracious of you.
Radiant's middle tower
I think that putting the Viper middle here, I'm not really sure why. I guess Storm Spirit is decent. Is going to not have a great lane necessarily against the puck. I can understand that, but they had a way to get a lane 1.
Yeah.
And now they're not losing anything, and they put their Storm Spirit. I guess they may not have expected the aggro try to come out, but knowing UG, it is not a shock. They like these really aggressive tri lanes. This is what not necessarily in the off lane, but like literally aggressive tri lanes.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean, I find it very strange. I can kind of see the logic. Oh, a big load of damage being done on a Wraith King, but the Nyx Assassin Stun misses. There's a lift. More damage coming in, but they're not going to be able to get it quick enough. Oh no, but there's Klotz coming in. He manages to get the chain down, but the Puck ulti. This is now looking really bad for CNB as Storm Spirit goes down. Rubik running off into the trees, desperately looking for a place to hide, but he's not going to find it. Meanwhile, the top lane rotates down. We've got Viper now, gets the first kill on the map on the Wraith King, who was already looking very low, but that is just a support position. It's now these two trying to trade blows, but
Ben just has an arrow.
yeah, they realize they're trading blows against 4 heroes, and they just got to back out. Getting some reinforcements in now. We've now got the entire CNB squad up. Jericho, sorry. Jericho being a bit too aggressive there, I think. Easy pick off with a Viper in lane. But
I think he was trying to set up for a Mirana arrow and just could not get the imprisonment off at a good time because Mirana had arrow available and was in the right angle to combo with the demon.
That could have been it. But I mean, I think the presence that the Viper just had in that fight was exactly, what you were talking about. Right. That's the reason they wanted him down there. Right. Storm Spirit. I think Storm Spirit is more gold dependent. Why not have done that from level 1? That would have. But I think he could have got that in. Been fine. Maybe I'm missing something about the Storm Puck matchup because I don't play those two a huge amount, and I don't know exactly how that lane would go. I would say the Puck is a good counter.
It's a solid counter, but it's not.
Yeah. Maybe it was just a response to that.
Unplayable counter.
And the other great thing about this lane from Union Gaming is, they can farm it however they want, and then soon as I don't know, some key item is reached on Mirana, maybe until she gets her 6.
Should have ordered the Wraith King there.
At that point, her and the Shadow Demon can start to roam. Wraith King can farm, move up to a semi-carry position, or Wraith King and Shadow Demon.
Absolutely.
But if I were Union, I'd probably rotate the others. Looking for another 5-second arrow, and it lands.
Nice.
That's in a bad, no chance even to use Aphotic Shield.
An interesting point, I don't think we actually got a chance to mention this. Wraith King did level his aura quite early on in this game, and so they have been pushing this bottom lane already, and so Nature's Prophet is going to TP down here and easily get it 9 minutes here 1.
I mean, when you've got that kind of dominance in the lane, and
why not?
You actually don't have to worry about the creeps getting under the enemy tower, because if they get under the enemy tower, you'll just beat them under the tower. And especially with the Nature's Prophet ready to come in any time. I really like that choice. And it looks like they're, I want to say congealing. I don't think that's the right word, but they're congealing for a push on this bot tier 2, rather than go for any of the other tier 1s.
What I expected from this Nature's Prophet. Look to group up early win, although they do have 3 heroes wrapping around from the north.
Yep, that's a 4-hero smoke gank coming down. At the same time, I'm sure we're going to get Storm Spirit TPing in.
Dream Coil is up.
Vipers come in, being spotted out. Here comes the Storm Spirit. Mirana ult is down. There's a stun out from the Wraith King on the Storm Spirit, slowing him down a little bit. Oh, and there's a beautiful Dream Coil coming out. Klotz trying to use his ult to get away. Wraith King ult propped up. Suddenly all of the CNB team are incredibly slowed, but he gets caught out by the Storm Spirit Shackle and is just drawn back into some quick right clicks. So the only casualty there actually going down on Union Gaming in the first proper 5v5 fight of the game. And I think Union Gaming got a fairly decent puck ult down there.
Yeah, it was I believe 4 or 5 man Dream Coil. I'm not totally sure if maybe it was the Fade Bolt, but Union Gaming, every hero lost, a fifth of their health all of a sudden. I'm not totally sure what that big source of damage was, but they were not ready for that.
I think there was also the Storm Spirit Static Remnants doing a fair amount of damage at this stage of the game.
Going top for Nature's. Backing up.
Is he going to be able to get this TP? He is. He absolutely is. He's just got to wait for the...
gets juked.
I don't think it's going to be enough. Okay, TP's coming in from UG. That's going to force the rotation back. But I mean, you forced out the rotation, hopefully made a bit of space for your team. And that's some much needed time.
Went that way and Nyx went that way.
I was going to say that's some much needed time for Storm Spirit to get farm on the bottom lane, but no. Storm Spirit's actually gone mid, keeping the Viper next to him, sorry, the Rubik next to him for support as well. Taking a lot of damage from this Mirana, gets the shackle off on her, but doesn't manage to do much in return. Is using his remnants very well to get last hit here though, so excellent job on that. We got Nyx now going for the puck. Vendetta is up, and they do actually outnumber UG down on this mid lane.
Shadow Demon's rotating in though.
Oh, there's Shadow Demon spotted out by the Nyx. There's going to be a Vendetta.
Oh.
There's the stun. He just needs the Mana Burst.
Arrow.
Oh, Mana Burst went down. Nice disruption, but he's caught out by a beautifully timed Static Remnant from Klotz. Oh, but there's a Nature's Prophet. He gets lifted. The orb is going to go in, but there's no perfect land for the Dream Coil. Oh, yes, there is. It catches out Ned and Klotz. Followed up by the Silence Burst. Beautiful heal from Abaddon. Ran into the trees in order to be able to get that one off. And it's probably going to be just enough to save Storm Spirit's life. Moonlight ults. Moonlight Shadow is popped. Desperately, UG trying to run away under the cover of the invis. I don't know if there's going to be enough poison damage down on this Wraith King.
7 health.
And they just don't have detection.
Next to the stun too late.
Dire's bottom tower.
I'm not sure whether there was a cooldown or something.
Yeah.
Oh, one brief moment.
Good. Viper here picking up some last hits on the middle. We've seen a lot of double warding these games here. Although there was a Dire Sentry there placed just as Nyx was ganking Shadow Demon. Not enough to keep him alive, so they were able to de-ward. Both teams have the MLG TKO, I believe, from summer of 2014 wards. Those are very nice wards. Props to both.
And I'm back, sorry.
Storm Spirit here, pushing a top lane. Go ahead, Grumble.
No. By all means.
I was just commenting on how both teams are using those MLG TKO wards. I'm a proud owner of as well.
Oh, let's go and have a look. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
You got your moment in the sunlight at the MLG TKO, didn't you?
It's a great day for the Wave Gaming.
Casting that beautiful, what was it, Fnatic IO Tiny Rampage or something, and it was just absolutely huge. Meanwhile, big push going on top. Klotz getting this wave finally right in but up to the tower. He's run out of creep wave, and Nature's Prophet has left some treants there, so I don't think he's going to be able to do a lot. Meanwhile, his team though are ganking up into the jungle. Wow. They almost got that double UK, and if they'd come across him with that low health, that would have been the easiest kill. The aggressive wards from UG aren't going to help them spot this out, though. They can go for Shadow Demon, but Puck is right there. Oh, the stun does land, followed up by a lift. They need to stand out of that tower range. Beautiful job from 4DR, manages to get the Shadow Demon down just from steady harass. They're still caught in Dream Coil, managed not to break it, just come out later. But at the same time, we've got Rubik being caught out very, very hard by that Rubik. So much damage coming out so quickly by this from the Wraith King. And things seem to come down. So 1 for 1, support for support.
Tower is under siege.
Yeah, it's a really tense game. You can tell there haven't been a huge number of kills, but both teams doing everything 5-man. It's just complete rotations every time.
So there's that.
It seems like we should be seeing more blood than we are.
I mean, I think that both teams picked, for understandable reasons, relatively gank-heavy teams. I would say that CNB is even more gank-heavy than UG's is. But neither team is really putting themselves in the position to be ganked, and every gank that's been attempted has been forced near a tower or near where support heroes are either visible or they're invisible. So both teams are looking for ganks that aren't there instead of being forced into 5-man.
Great job from.
But I mean, I think in the end, it's working out very well for CNB. They have the gold lead, very meaningful. They have a somewhat static but still very useful experience lead. I mean, they are the team that is better suited for 5-man Dota, even though they do have very strong gank. And though both teams may be looking to gank, but if it is 5-man against 5-man, I think UG is going to take that because they're going to go later and they have the better team fight.
Yeah, you did mean UG there. I think you said CNB at the start, just to clarify if anyone was.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Yes.
So I was looking at that, being like, okay, I've got net worth up. How on CNB are ahead on gold?
My apologies.
What?
They have secret gold, Grumble. They don't even show that on the graph.
Nature's Prophet picked up Shadowblade and Midas, so he's just going to be one of those annoying prophets. I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing a Deso coming out on him, and you're right, that's exactly the kind of reason why this kind of static play is going to favor UG. You know, even aside from all the reasons you were saying in terms of, you know, the potential of the heroes, they'll just split push if everything stays static.
Absolutely. Question is, as Nature's Prophet starts to play a little bit greedier as the game becomes more static, is CNB going to be able to use their Nyx and Storm to gank him? Right now, neither of those heroes really have the farm necessary to do anything about it. I mean, look at Storm. He doesn't have a single Oblivion staff up.
Oh, I'm sure he's trying.
Is still more than oh, absolutely. I don't think he's even played badly. I really don't. But Nyx is still 1,000 gold away.
Oh dear, HyperX.
Again, I don't.
Sorry, I keep saying HyperX. It's confusing with all that.
That HyperX is a good player, man. He's on a lot of teams.
Yeah, he is.
He needs to take a break. He needs to take a vacation.
He's most pro, and he can play a whole team of heroes at once. It's amazing.
He's really
HyperX
good.
too strong.
He's too strong. That guy is legitimately OP. Valve nerf, please.
Just nerf the guy. It's ridiculous. Yeah, just Rubik being caught out in the trees there by some unfortunate dire creeps. I think he thought he was a little bit more hidden than he was.
Pop bottom, Nature's Prophet and Puck are chasing. Got a shield on.
Puck's got the haster in there. There was no way they were getting away from that.
And again, Storm wanted to help, was in nearby, but they don't have these early support. I'll save you when you're ganked, other than Viper and to some extent Rubik, but they don't have counter gank. UG has counter gank in spades.
A Photic Shield could be useful, but not if he's the one being ganked.
If Abaddon is being ganked, yes. That's true. Abaddon would definitely be one. So if they go on the Abaddon or the Rubik, then the heroes that are not going to be able to turn and fight and don't have an escape in Vendetta or Carapace or Storm Spirit Zip, then there's nothing they can do.
Smoke gank going down in the Radiant jungle. You know, CNB know what's going on with their team. They don't want these guys just taking the jungle the entire time. The dust goes down to counter the Shadow Blade, but there's so much damage coming out from this Puck, and it's all AoE. Clot's now in real trouble, but Puck is out of mana. Clot's just bottling up. He's just going to continually use his ult. He needs to get the AoE damage down, though. No more dust.
Puck. Don't do it.
Still on TP.
That was a greedy Puck right there.
Meanwhile, though, CNB taking advantage of the space and looking to push up mid. And Nature's Prophet for Rubik is definitely a trade that favors CNB.
But no, I agree completely. I mean, it's a good trade. That's what I was talking about. You know, if Nature's Prophet does get caught out, even if it's an even catch out, it doesn't have to be a clear wins. CNB can do a lot with that space. Once they make it, it's just a matter of making
frozen mid. I'm not sure whether he's just waiting for the. Okay, cool. Sorry, I thought he might be glitched or something because he was just dead still.
He's not frozen. He's just a man.
He don't care about no arrow. Don't care about no arrow.
Product shield does crazy things to a man's head.
It does. That it does. Let's have a quick look at the. Oh damn it! Someone just came online and I can't click on the item sheet. Damn it. Let's.
Curse you, dictator! Stop being a new.
Curse you, Shadow Man! Get out of here. Oh, and there's a beautiful Nick stun going down on the Wraith King. I don't know if he's going to have enough to mana burn off the. Nope, not going to have enough to mana burn off the ult. But oh, they did.
He has our.
They did.
How did he do that?
What, the cooldown on mana burn or something? Yep, he's maxed that first 4-second cooldown. He just had the time to cast it twice.
Yeah, because when I looked, at the start of the gank, he did not have enough to take it out. But you're right, he must have gotten enough twice. Mana burn is a very low mana cost spell and very low cooldown. It's going to make this Wraith King's life pretty hard if he gets isolated.
And I'm pretty sure we're seeing.
I'm not sure why the Wraith King is the one split pushing.
Yeah,
little bit on Nature's Prophet, but Storm doesn't see him across the trees.
Yeah, well duped from him.
I mean, I would basically say Wraith King is maybe the last hero to be split pushing, because even Shadow Demon has imprisonment. Wraith King just has a single target stun that can't be used, you know, to defend himself. I think he should be the last person that's away from the group.
And I think one of the big problems that they're having at the moment is just CNB are finding it really hard to farm any of the heroes anywhere. None of the lanes are safe for very long. I mean, you see Storm Spirit wisely backing out when the creep wave has barely gone halfway through his own jungle, but they just don't have a choice. They need to get back.
The Viper Abaddon combo has been able to plant itself pretty firmly in this middle lane, and they're about to take this mid tower.
Yeah, as long as Jericho doesn't turn around for a sneaky. Nope. The beautiful stun comes out from Wesley, and followed up with a quick Vendetta hit.
Blink dagger. Oh, but Puck hits the gem. Nyx just left it on the ground. He just walked away.
He didn't know.
He wasn't paying attention. But yeah, that's Nyx blink dagger being shown. I think the CNB, UG is not going to let themselves be in position like that now that they know it's out. First kill with the blink dagger is always tough. Oh, and now they know that they have a ward where Nyx Assassin was hit by the Nature's Prophet ult, so I expect that to be dewarded relatively soon.
Nice job from Storm Spirit, forcing out Moonlight Shadow. Pushing out Moonlight Shadow on top. Yeah, he is. But you're right, he's not the natural choice for this. And I don't know whether they just want to now try and secure him a bit more farm so that when he blinks in he'll be a little bit more effective. And, you know, they're going for maybe safer places to farm for the carries, but it does seem hugely generous. And he wants to go for this Nyx. Beautiful stun off. He needs his team to get in quick though.
He runs. Yeah, they say that's not the fight you want, Wraith King.
Runs back to the tier 1 where his team are very, very quickly destroying yet another tower. Wesley back in, gets a nice stun off, but here comes Klotz, gets the shackle out. Gonna have to back up though, the tower's straight down. Moonlight Coil already down on 2. Abaddon ult is popped. Nyx assassin goes straight down. Abaddon brought up to full health via his ult, but just immediately nuked down then after being sprouted. There's just so much early game damage on this
CNB's gonna
UG
take
team.
top.
Yep, well spotted. Yeah, CNG taking top with Rubik and Viper just choosing
Before
not
tier
to defend, but they're actually going to trade tier 1 and tier 2 for that. Just UG are just steamrolling down mid right now.
There it's Roche. His
Nature's
trance in 20
Prophet moving
seconds.
in. He's going to be the one to start it all off, I think.
He's gonna have to have some help because he got trance in 15 seconds. Puck is getting an inventory chop, so I would expect to see. No, Puck's gonna bottle the rune. He could, since he's not gonna add a lot to the Roche, he could always, roam the map while they're going for the Roche. Oh, they're gonna cancel it. It's very surprising. I don't understand why UG didn't go for that there. They had the ward coverage needed to see people coming in. Did they have no sentries for the Nyx? Is that why? Check the inventory real quick.
I think that could be
why.
it, yeah.
There was they had no sentry. I bet you $1 they started it, and then okay, put out a sentry ward for the Nyx.
Oh, and there we go. Beautiful zip in from Klotz. He manages to get the shackle down on Shadow Demon, and I think it's just going to be one very simple pickoff. But it looks like CNB are wondering about turning it into a Roche. No, just checking to make sure that UG aren't. And I agree. I was kind of thinking, like maybe they would be able to pull something off. Maybe they, maybe they were thinking they didn't have the heroes for it. But Nature's Prophet and Wraith
Not
King,
without sentry wards though.
You can't.
You
ask
cannot
for more
do
than that.
Roche when
No,
Assassin
but
can
I
just
agree,
casually walk in with a mid data.
So it's the Sentry Wards. They've got the perfect team for doing it as soon as possible though.
Yep, absolutely.
Have they picked up some Sentry Wards now? No, but Shadow Demon does not have the gold for it, unfortunately. But I'm sure, yeah, as you said, that'll be up very, very soon. Getting pinged out again by the Marana. Calling for them to start it. So they haven't got the sentries down, they are going for
on
it.
his own. I mean, Vendetta is being used top, but that means his Nature's Prophet is just going to die. Stun him, stun him, stun him.
There's
Good
the stun.
job. He's dead.
Needs to get a bit more right click on though. Nice blink and one more. Beautiful job. Just the kind of distraction they need though.
Pops
in order
his
for
combo
Rose.
on the Rubik. Dead.
Oh, missed that. I apologize. Well called.
No problem. Nyx has a blink. Gonna have the stun. Watches a phase shift. Hits it.
Does catch the stun.
He has another mana burn.
They're going to need a lot of mana burn. So, yep, they're backing off the illusory orb.
Blink in one.
Puck does head to it. And he's out. And this is just exactly what they need. Oh, but Viper gets caught in the slow from the Wraith King. He's going to have to know what's up here. Moonlight Shadow used to just defend for a little bit longer. Roshan already down. And 40 are now possibly being caught out as Benjaz and the Wraith King going down straight on him. Klotz now running low on mana but wants to go down on Benjaz. They're getting vision here. Was there a dust popped?
There was a dust. There was a dust.
Marana respawning immediately. Going to look for a quick leap. No, not. Actually just going to go
arrow.
straight in on Klotz. Gets a nuke down. Beautiful job. And that leaves